guys, and welcome to Katie's Insight, where I give my insight on all kinds of crap. Basically, whatever I want. We talk about business, news, finance, politics, and right now, especially most important, stimulus. That is what we are doing. And guys, I want to tell you right now, I'm holding my breath, but I'm going to try it. I want to do a $100 gift card giveaway in this video. By the way, in this video only. I have a teeny bit of money coming in, and I want to try it to see how it goes. So, and it's also a big thank you to all of you because you guys have been so awesome. If you didn't see my videos yesterday, I got monetized in like 2 hours. So I woke up, I had the invitation, and then I filled everything out, and then boom, 2 hours later, like, we're good to go. Now, I don't know what that means because, guys, if you're not in the land of YouTube, it can mean so many things. On the other channel, we did very well. We had a very high CPM for what we covered. I don't know if that's going to happen again. You would think so, but it's YouTube, where nothing makes sense and they don't have to be transparent. Hey, YouTube, hey, love y'all. I'm not knocking you. You guys have given me a wonderful opportunity and I appreciate it. I'm just being honest with where things are at. So I want to try one. And guys, if you can and you want to keep being able to get those gift cards, here's what you can do with this video. And to get the gift card, this is how you're eligible for the gift card. All you have to do, it's very simple. Like our video, subscribe if you haven't. Hit notifications. You have to make sure and hit notifications so you can be notified about our content every day. Leave a comment, share the content. Boom! You're entered. That's it. That's all you have to do. And guys, I would say as a big favor to me, please, on this video specifically, make sure and like, subscribe, comment, hit notifications, and share. That way, because if this does well and I see we have a good rate of return, then I can continue to bring back the gift cards. But I just want to try this to see if this one works. So I will announce the winner, not tomorrow, but the next day in the videos. So make sure and watch all of those videos. And guys, if you want to continue to help me, make sure and watch the videos from start to finish. And if you want to watch multiple times, it would be so grateful because that does help everything. I have to figure out financially what I'm working with. And sometimes there is a couple days, lag days, where I don't know exactly what I'm bringing in, and it's a process to build. So thank you to everybody who helped me get monetized. We did it. This is awesome. I was talking to my assistant earlier, and we were just both going and we were just both amazed going, we have the best audience in the world. Oh my God, these people are so wonderful. So many of you came and supported me even going, I don't care about the gift cards, but I care about you guys. And now that you don't care about me, I'm just saying, I know you don't care about the gift cards because you care about me, so let me reciprocate. Also, I'm going to point this out because you people in the comments are crafty. If you look at me and you're like, what's going on with the lower half of your face? Something's up. Was there a makeup accident? This face doesn't understand makeup. Let me tell y'all real quick what happened. Then we're going to get into this because we have big, exploding stimulus news. It is a really bad idea. I'm going to educate you guys on something that you knew at 2 years old that I guess I'm figuring out now. It's a really bad idea to be half laying down and drink scalding hot tea. It went all over my chin. My chin hurts so bad today, so I can see it. Like, I have a monitor right here. I don't like to look at the monitor much. Sometimes if you see me look over here, I'm looking at the timing of the video. But look, it's red. It's really red. It could have been worse. I hope there's no blistering or anything. I mean, it's been so long since I've had a burn. And whoever gets a burn on their face but a sunburn, and even look at this paleness. It's been a while since I've even had that. So just wanted to point out, I'm very aware, hashtag Red Chin Wednesday. Is that even a thing? Red Chin Wednesday. That's hard to say. But yeah, so my chin is a little bit red. So just wanted to let you know, sound off in the comments if it's even noticeable. I bet it is. Oh my God, why did I do that? I'm gonna have a bunch of comments about my red chin. So I've been doing tons of aloe vera. I tried to put aloe vera on before I did this, but it just, because of the light that hits, it just looks even more exaggerated. And with this big light that just shows everything about my appearance, I was like, let me just be up front. So guys, make sure and be sitting fully all the way up when you drink tea, especially when it's scalding hot. You get red face. Let's go ahead and dive in. Also, find me on Facebook, Katie's Insight. Like the page, join the group, Katie's Corner. Will be changed to Katie's Insight soon. Come in, ask all the stimulus questions you want. All right, little love bugs, let's get into this. So, remember yesterday's video, y'all? Guess who was right? Not to toot my own horn, but toot toot, MFer. Toot toot. So, if you guys remember yesterday, and I got tons of comments and flack for this, and by the way, y'all have every right, I understand. It's not like the world isn't exploding. It's a frustrating time, and you want to be able to trust the people that you get news from, and we know we can't trust mainstream media, right? So let's talk about this. Let's talk about what we saw yesterday. So big news came out. Everybody was talking about it. President Trump said he's ending the stimulus talks. So now also understand, guys, the first two videos I try to record back to back because as you guys know, I have chronic illness issues. So I try to get stuff done as quickly as I can if I'm able to, because at some point my body just goes downhill and I'm in bed. Not every day, but there are days, especially lately, because it's been a lot of stress and me trying to work to get this up and running, which I have to do, and I love to do because I love hanging out with you guys. But just to kind of give you an understanding, I try to film the first 2 videos back to back if I am able to, if I've had all my research done from the day before, because these are very highly researched videos. So as a result, and then on top of that, guys, with the way the notification system works, I can only send out videos every 3 hours. So that if you notice, they're spaced out every 3-ish hours, or at least over the 3 mark. So just to kind of give you a heads up, sometimes literally what I have out is what I did that morning, and within an hour, it can all change. It sucks. But I did a video last night kind of covering what President Trump said and what the situation is. So President Trump, if you didn't see the video, go see it from last night. I'll have links in the description. I'll put them in the cards. So make sure and go see last night's video. President Trump tweeted, long story short, he's going to end stimulus talks with Nancy. Of course, the media went nuts. YouTubers went nuts. And in the comments, y'all went nuts. In my video that I did yesterday, I wanted to show you every possible angle of what's happening, because you have to remember a couple things about Trump. So first of all, you got to be able not to just read, but read with a T, read these people. And I have been studying these personalities in the government for the last several months as I've been dissecting these videos. And one thing I'm good at is reading people, right? That's what I do. That's what I do all the time on this channel. And I've gotten to know a lot of their quirks, their idiosyncrasies, you know, their strengths, their weaknesses. And Trump's strength and weakness is that he is an exaggerator to the point where he lies. Okay, I'm not just saying exaggeration to get away from the fact he lies. He'll blatantly lie in exaggerating something so much. I take it with a grain of salt only because I think this is his profession with real estate. With real estate, everything has to be big, amazing, huge. It's very much, you know, propping everything up to make it look like this grandiose thing. And Trump has been good in his business about making things look grandiose. I know he's done stupid things. We've all done stupid things in business, right? Like, look at me and some of the companies I've worked with. And I'll put it that way. So, you know, we all have done stupid things in our careers or with what we are doing, right? So when I saw these tweets from him, first of all, it was very focused. I'm going to go into it in just a minute. It was very focused on Nancy Pelosi and the fact that the Democrats won't do a deal. And I sat there and I was like, okay, first of all, let's think about this. Trump can exaggerate to the point of lying to where you can't always take what he says as truth, unfortunately. But Trump is a wild card, and sometimes he'll say random off-the-wall crap, and then he goes and does it in a few days, the impossible, like the executive orders. So you have to be able to read between the lines of Trump and think, is he miscommunicating and not explaining things correctly? Or are we getting the exaggerated lying? I think we had a little of both yesterday, and that's what I broke down in the videos. Now, I do want to cover this because I think this is really interesting. There is a lot of talk right now about his cognitive health, and people are saying he's neurologically on the decline since this virus. I know even Nancy Pelosi had come out saying she thinks the dexamethasone, the steroid that he's on, that steroid that he's on is affecting his cognitive abilities. I don't necessarily know if it would affect your cognitive abilities. I need to really dive into that. I know steroids I've had don't. They've helped me be more amped up and hyper. Like, I need that help. But y'all, I have chronic illness issues where I have a lot of issues with first of all, I have to rebuild my muscular system. You know, I was bedbound for, not completely bedbound, but I was mostly in bed for a few years because of being sick. And even though it's better now, like I have to rebuild it. And my core, because I have a neurological condition. So what happens is sometimes it's called the vagus nerve. That nerve from your brain stem down to your butt and your spine can act up. And I can get very, very weak and it can cause a lot of issues. So like certain things like mopping or sweeping, I have a very difficult time doing because of those core muscles. And if I push that too much, like if I do too much bending and stuff, it can activate my vagus nerve. So I know I have an understanding, at least for me and my body, of neurological issues also as well with what I've had. I've had fibromyalgia, tons of brain fog. It's getting better and better by the day, which is fantastic. It used to feel like it was a constant lightning storm in my brain, and there was just a cloud shield over everything, and you'd tell me something, it went in one ear and right in the other, and I couldn't process. So now that I'm recovering, it is not that way at all. I do have days that are worse, some days that are not great, but I'm mostly functioning cognitively, which is fantastic, which is such a blessing, right? My point is to say, in all of that, I understand neurological issues. I understand medications or illnesses that will make your brain foggy. Trump, since he left, Walter Reed has been doing stupid moves. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I know you all think I'm a Trumper. I'm a closet this and I'm a closet that Republican. I'm not, and I'm also not a Democrat. I look at this and I'm like, I'm not jumping on either crazy bandwagon. Now, I kind of have opinions on what, who I think might be the lesser of the two evils, but to me, it's like, I would rather just not pick an evil. How about that, right? And I can argue different sides on this. But when it comes to Trump, I'm just going to be honest with y'all. He's doing stupid moves since he left Walter Reed, and people are wondering if it is a cognitive issue from the medications. He is on remdesivir, and that is still a very new medication. Now, I don't know if dexamethasone is going to do that. However, is remdesivir, because this is so new, they don't fully know the side effects. And we already know Trump is erratic when it comes to tweeting and putting things out, right? He really uses that platform, and he's a free human being to do so. More power to him if that's what he wants to do, right? But he's made some very questionable decisions. First of all, that joyride he took. Y'all, I cringed. And I've heard the argument. People are saying he's in a car, he's sealed from the public, he's just going to do that to support everybody who's been supporting him. I get that, and it's a very kind gesture for him to do. However, he's in a situation where you were supposed to be quarantining. And on top of that, people say he put his Secret Service in jeopardy. Well, the Secret Service have to be with him all the time anyway. So unfortunately, most of them are in jeopardy anyways. But as I've said before, everything about this next election, I'm calling it the stimulus election because that's what it is, and the virus election, it's all going to be about perception. And the perception to the American public is you're doing dangerous things when you do a joyride like that to the people and to the Secret Service. Let's entertain that it's not necessarily. It's how it looks. Then he comes back home from it and tells everybody not to fear the virus. Now, I talked about this in depth on the other video. I'm not going to go too into this, but I do want to give some insight into this. I was a former New Ager. I still have a lot of New Age beliefs. I love the idea of reincarnation. I love the idea of an afterlife. There's several things that I still love. Tarot card readings, By the way, I'm not even saying there's any merit or science to this. These are things I enjoy. These are, but I also have things from Christianity I've taken, and I love Buddhism and Taoism. So I'm just a big amalgamation. Is that a word? Amalgamation? Sound off in the comments what I'm trying to say and having a Trump moment. That's a joke. No, this is more of a Biden moment. No, for a Biden moment, it's where am I? But, wait, what was I talking about? Now I am having a Trump and Biden moment. I have to get back on track. What was I talking about? Medications. Walter Reed. Okay. He's been making some stupid moves. He told everybody when he got back, don't fear the virus, and I cringed. And I get it. I get the concept of not wanting to live in fear. Many of the major religions and spiritualities, including super with the New Age religion, don't fear. Fear is an unnecessary emotion. It's going to attract bad things. We hear stuff like this, right? And I personally believe there's some truth to it, that what you put out there, you get back, you attract certain things into your life. But I think as we become adults, we learn life is also just hard and full of random crap. That's what we call quantum physics, right? That's a science of the magic behind random crap happening to you. And you have to kind of account for both. There is, I think, there is forms of, order and predestination with free will mixed in there that you can screw it up however you want, in my opinion. But my point is to say, I understand the philosophy he's trying to say of don't let fear run your life. And I agree with that to an extent. Because there are things that are I call them healthy fears or healthy concerns maybe. A bear is chasing you? Yeah, that's going to raise your cortisol, raise your adrenals. It's going to give you a flood of different chemicals in your body so you can put yourself into safety. But the way he said it comes across like it's flippant. Like he's being very nonchalant about the virus. And again, here's the thing. I feel like with Trump, I'm able, at least my perspective, I think I can interpret him well because I can look at him and go, I understand what he meant. The problem is we're dealing with a society of people. They don't care what you mean. They want to twist it for everything they can to hate on him because that's the media's narrative. And a lot of people in the country still, unfortunately, even though I think we're a country that's waking up to several issues and things we need to, fix, for a lot of people, it's just easier to go with what the talking heads in the box in the room says. TV, that's what they do, right? And by the way, I'm not saying that about any of you. I think you guys that are watching are smart enough to understand, even if we disagree on points, even if you're a Republican or a Democrat, you know the people I'm talking about, the people who are just going to blindly go with anything. Like, it's crazy. It's really interesting. There is a guy and I don't even want to say his name because I'm afraid YouTube will get upset with me, but he is considered a big right-wing person, but he really isn't. He's just a professor in Canada that gives a lot of common sense. Sound off in the comments if you know who I'm talking about. I don't agree with everything he says, but I agree with a lot of it. He's very, very intelligent. And when speaking on this topic, so this is what he said, which I found really interesting and really disturbing. And I'm going to be very careful the language I use because it's YouTube. He was saying when some bad things happened, tens of years ago, let's just call it Germany. Maybe some bad things happened with a lot of people, and there could have been a ruler who was really horrible. Please infer what I'm saying, because I don't want YouTube to be upset with me. But what he was saying is, he was like, you have to figure out how those people got to where they are at. He was like, and what you have to look at is it didn't start out as the thing that it was. It started out as like this good, awesome social movement. And what you have to understand is at that time, they were offering good jobs to go and do the bidding of this person, and it looked like it was a noble cause to help the country. So the propaganda starts differently. And so what he was saying is the majority of people have to realize they would have, if that came to pass now, that's what they would be involved in. They would be on that side, because you hear people say, oh, that wouldn't be me. But no, because a lot of people still just listen to whatever the leaders or their parents. You have people that are my age, I'm 36 years old, who still just think their parents' word is God. Your parents don't know what in the HELL they're doing as much as you do. I think sometimes just more people might have an ego about thinking that they do, or that the people around them do. So it was really, really interesting. And he was like, you have to really internalize that to realize where you would be at. And I've even thought about it for myself, as I'm somebody that sits in the middle of the situation. I'm like, would I have been in the middle? But at the same time, history is a hard one, because history is skewed by the country that you are in. The history we get in the United States is going to be vastly different from the history they're going to get in some Asian country or in South Africa or somewhere in Europe. So you are always going to have your own form of country propaganda in the history that you learn in school, which I find fascinating and strange and incredibly concerning and disheartening, because how do you actually ever know the truth? By the way, guys, if you want to go down a real interesting blank theory, remember, because I can't say the certain words with theory because YouTube might get upset. Look into this if you're interested. If you're like me and you love weird history and ancient aliens and you desperately want aliens to come sniff your orange candle like I talk about every video now, go look into the mud floods. What is that? And by the way, not even saying it's true. I haven't really dove into the science, but there's a lot of interesting stuff about maybe like around the 18th century sometimes, 17th or 18th, 19th century. There were like floods of mud, and that's why our buildings look all crazy. It's been wiped from history. And there was this whole other thing in China where they think another thing built the wall. Like, y'all, it's fascinating. I'm not saying it's real. I don't know. But it is fascinating, and they have some interesting stuff to kind of back things up. Like, if you ever see, like, there are buildings that are built into the side, like some of these, ancient places where there's whole buildings or big, beautiful religious things that are built into the side of what looks like a mountain. You're like, how did they do that? That's crazy. Well, some of it they think is actually what they call mud floods. It's mud and dirt that kind of flood over the land and do different things. Like, go look at it. Anyways, it's very interesting. I talk way too much. But, so my point is to say, where do we go from? We went from Trump doing stupid stuff to aliens and mud floods. It always goes back to aliens and candles with me. But let's take a look at the stuff that Trump has done. So we have him waving. We have him saying, don't fear the virus, which just looks like he's not taking it seriously. So when he goes out in the motorcade, waves, and tells everybody not to fear it, looks like he's not taking it seriously. So I was already getting worried, because Trump is, yes, the media takes him out of context very unfairly. Sometimes he puts himself in that situation because he words things stupidly. A lot of people, though, like the fact that he's so direct, even if it's worded kind of incorrectly, because with him, you know what you get to an extent. With Pelosi, you don't. You have to know how to read Trump. With Pelosi, it's where are we going to catch her in the lie. With Trump, it's he didn't explain it right to people who are socially inept or who just want to twist what he says. But he does say some stupid, offensive stuff that he shouldn't. It's funny, a friend of mine from Canada, hey girl, hey, she knows who she is. She pointed out that Trump has just like berated the Canadian people, and that's why a lot of Canadians don't like Trump. And I was like, well, I know he's gone after Trudeau, which, oh, he's pretty. But he's also nuts too. But I was like, I know he's, by the way, hi Canada, hi. I would move to Vancouver in a heartbeat. I tried 10 years ago. It is hard to get into Canada, y'all. It is hard. You have to have a bunch of money or a good lawyer, and typically that makes a bunch of money. You have to meet all these requirements, and like, I don't speak French. I mean, I can do a little bit. I lived in France. I should speak French. Un petit peu, a little bit. But, so let me kind of go into this. So he's been doing all these stupid moves, and then I saw the tweets last night, and I went, oh, dear Lord, Trump, my little trumpet, what are you doing? What are you doing? Because I looked at it, and if you saw the video, I gave a few different angles on what was happening, and I said, and I've proven to be correct today, we're probably going to hear more clarity because he probably hasn't explained himself well. Guys, it's to the point where not only is people questioning his cognitive abilities right now with the virus and the medicine, it's been reported, I'm not saying it's true, but it's been reported that Don Jr., his son, is trying to get the family together to kind of do an intervention about his crazy antics right now. Because even though Trump does weird stuff and says weird stuff, he's really good about putting a good image of himself in front of the American people, even if people try to twist it. The problem right now is he's doing things where his image is not looking good. And that's the problem. Now, I went into detail about this in the other video, but I've talked about this as well. You just heard me talk about it a little bit about how being ill can affect you mentally and emotionally. A lot of you watching this channel, I know you were going through your own chronic health issues, and my heart goes out to you and I pray for you. I understand chronic illness, autoimmune type illnesses. I understand disorders. I understand what that is and long term, how that affects you mentally and emotionally. So, it can be very, very difficult, right? Because you just basically have to put up with consistently being in pain or feeling awful. And there are days where emotionally and mentally, you can't handle it anymore. But you don't get it. You need a break from your body, but you can't get a break from your body when you're in that situation, right? That's why I constantly talk about how blessed I am that I was able to find the core reasons as to what was wrong with me. And trust me, it took a lot of medical gaslighting of people telling me there's nothing wrong with you. It's just anxiety. I had to fight doctors going, I've had a low-grade fever for a week and I've been doing this for 5 years. That's not an anxious symptom. But they don't want to listen because, a lot of times with doctors, patients are turning tables. Get them in and out, give them some meds, pocket the money, and go. You have to really advocate and fight for your own health. It's sad that we're in this country, but this is what happens in this country when you get sick. And hopefully, one of the silver linings of this pandemic is it is illuminating these issues and coming to the forefront. We will be more open to fixing them than seeing people that are sick as just lazy. Because that's how we look at the disabled and the sick in this country. We look at them as just lazy, right? Or incompetent, which is not true. Y'all see me? I am the opposite of lazy. But that's what we're labeled as because that's the narrative in this country. If you don't work hard, then F you. That's how people look at it. So he's been doing really, really dumb moves. And when I saw him tweet last night, my first thought was, he's going to have to clarify. He's going to have to. The second one is I sat there and I cringed because I'm like, dude, this is making you look so bad. Because here's the thing. Right now with the stimulus, all of the heat is on the Republicans and the Democrats. It's more on the Democrats, and I'll tell you why. Because the Republicans are upfront about not giving a crap about people. They're upfront about being evil. The Democrats parade around like they do, and they make all this noise about it, but then completely stop the process. So the Democrats put themselves in a position where there's a bigger spotlight on them about the situation, if that makes sense. The Republicans are in the background, not liked at all very well, but at least we know where we stand, where the Democrats keep screaming how wonderful they are, and then they keep screwing us. So we keep seeing that as the spotlight, and Trump and his administration and the others on that side are putting a spotlight on that behavior, which they should. Because if it wasn't for Nancy getting in the way, we would have unemployment, that $600 stimulus. We would have that right now up until the end of December. We would have rent help. We'd be having student loan help. We'd have the payroll tax. Trump went ahead and did executive orders on that, but they don't go far enough. It was only 5 or 6 weeks of extra unemployment at like $300 a week, which is still something. Trump has been getting all of these wins for the election, but he took so many losses. He took a loss with getting the virus as he's putting out all this information of not to fear it, getting the virus, doing the motorcade, where he waves to everybody, saying there's nothing to fear. And then what he put out on Twitter, I held my breath. Because what he put out, which we're going to go into in a minute, the problem is it makes it look like he is the one responsible for stimulus not happening. When he says, I am canceling all talks, most people aren't, except for somebody like me who studies this all the time nonstop, because that's what I do. Most people are looking at this situation and they're not, I want to try to explain this correctly. They're not looking at it with all the details. All they see is I've canceled stimulus. And Trump, not that Trump's watching, but I'll dress like he is. Dude, that makes you look so bad because it takes the responsibility off of the Democrats, the Republicans, and puts it on you that it's not working. And you're doing that, 3 weeks before an election? Come on, man. Come on. It's making you look bad. It's making Trump look bad. And I told y'all this yesterday. I said, here's the other part to this. Trump, big vibrato Trump, right? He is going to be big and exaggerated, and this could be a negotiation tactic. And I believe that I was right. I called it. So I want to get into this. Y'all know how I roll. Notes. Why do they do it that way? I don't know. I just felt to do you guys have an evil voice? Notes. Watch. Sound off in the comments. Okay, guys. Hashtag I'm in some crazy conspiracy something or other, right? I can't even say the word. I had to bleep out the word. I can't say it. Hold on. Notes. Listen, I have a lower one and then I have a higher one. This is my soprano. How weird is that? Oh my gosh. Studying voice for 8 years and being a singer for a long time, I've played around a lot with my vocal cords. Kind of hurt. Don't try that at home. Or do. I don't care. Do whatever you want. It's your life, and we're all kind of quarantined-ish anyways. Do whatever you want to do. But let's go ahead and look into this. So I have a little information pulled up from ABC News. In late night tweets, Trump changes course on the virus relief talks. We didn't see this coming. In a pair of late-night tweets, President Donald Trump changed course on negotiating the virus relief that he had earlier announced he was calling off until after the election. The House and Senate should immediately, big letters, approve $25 billion for airline payroll support and $125 billion for paycheck protection program for small businesses. Both of these will be fully paid with the unused funds from the CARES Act. Have this money. I will sign now, he posted shortly before 10 p.m. Eastern. If I am sent a standalone bill for stimulus checks, $1,200, they will go out to our greatest people immediately. I am ready to sign right now. Are you listening, Nancy? He posted about 20 minutes later. We're going to go over this in detail in a minute. The late night exchange came after a surprise announcement that he was called off the talks with House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi is asking for $2.4 trillion to bail out poorly run, high-crime Democratic states. Money that is in no way related to the virus. We made a very generous offer of $1.6 trillion, and as usual, she's not negotiating in good faith. I am rejecting their ... request and looking to the future of our country, Trump tweeted earlier on Tuesday. I've instructed my representatives to stop negotiating until after the election, when immediately after I win, we will pass a major stimulus bill that focuses on hardworking Americans and small businesses. I have asked Mitch McConnell not to delay, but to instead focus full-time on approving my outstanding nominee to the United States Supreme Court, Amy Coney Barrett. Our economy is doing very well. The stock market is at record levels. Jobs and unemployment also coming back to record numbers. We are leading the world in economic recovery, and the best is yet to come. Cringing when I hear it, guys. Financial markets dropped sharply on that news. Pelosi and Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin were negotiating in recent days and indicated several times they were close to reaching a deal. They met at her office at the Capitol for 90 minutes last week, followed by a series of phone calls later in the week. Pelosi and Mnuchin traded papers on Monday, but key differences still remain on liability insurance and funding for local and state governments, according to a source familiar with the talks. Pelosi and Mnuchin spoke again by phone Tuesday afternoon, just after the president called off negotiations. Mnuchin, according to Pelosi's office, confirmed that the talks were off. The secretary confirmed that the president has walked away from the virus talks. The speaker expressed her disappointment in the president's decision to abandon the economic and health needs of the American people, Pelosi's spokesman Drew Hamill said in a tweet. In a statement, Pelosi blasted the White House as being in complete disarray. Today, once again, President Trump showed his true colors, putting himself first at the expense of the country, with the full complicity of the GOP members of Congress. Walking away from the virus talks demonstrates that President Trump is unwilling to crush the virus. She's always saying that, and is required by the HEROES Act. He shows his contempt for science, his disdain for our heroes in healthcare, first responders, sanitation, transportation, food workers. She does it again. Teachers, 3 times, and others, and refuses to put money in workers' pockets unless his name is printed on the check, Pelosi said. Clearly, the White House is in complete disarray. Sadly, they are rejecting the urgent warnings of Fed Chairman Powell today that too little support would lead to a weak recovery, creating unnecessary hardship for households and businesses. Over time, household insolvencies and business bankruptcies would rise, harming the productive capacity of the economy and holding back wage growth. By contrast, the risk of overdoing it seem, for now, to be smaller. Even if policy actions ultimately prove to be greater than needed, they will not go to waste, she said. House Democrats were on a private caucus call Tuesday afternoon as the news broke that negotiations were called off by the president. Some Democrats were stunned at the news, given that the lead negotiators appeared to be on the brink of a deal, according to a source on the call. Pelosi, on a private call, even questioned the president's mental capacity given his recent usage of steroids as he battles the virus. Sources familiar with the call told ABC News. Believe me, There are a lot of people who think that steroids have an impact on your thinking. So I don't know. I do practice medicine on the side without benefit of the diploma as a mother and a grandmother, but I hadn't gone into mental health yet. I haven't had to do that, Pelosi said, according to an official on the call. I will say, as bad as I think that is for her to do, I also can't blame her because look at what Trump has said repeatedly with Biden, right? Tit for tat. Like, I have to give it to her. Like, can't fault her too much because Trump says the same thing about Biden, but Biden doesn't say a lot of stupid stuff. Looks like the lights aren't on at home, right? The lights aren't on and nobody's home. Trump's announcement came just hours after the Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell said in a speech that more stimulus was needed to help boost the economy. Too little support would lead to a weak recovery, creating unnecessary hardships for households and businesses, Powell said in a speech at a virtual annual meeting held by the National Association for Business Economics. Over time, household insolvencies and business bankruptcies would rise, harming the productive capacity of our country and holding back wage growth. Former Vice President Joe Biden released a lengthy statement on Tuesday evening blasting Trump for canceling the negotiations, saying Trump's actions make it clear that the plight of small businesses, frontline workers, and unemployed families struggling to get by don't matter to him. Now, it doesn't matter to the Democrats and the Republicans because Trump is the only one that tried to step up and help. Make no mistake, if you're out of work or your business is closed, if your child's school is shut down, if you were seeing layoffs in your community, Donald Trump decided today that none of it matters to him, Biden wrote. Neither does it to Nance, Biden. Biden drives me nuts. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell told reporters Tuesday at the Capitol that he supports Trump's decision to end negotiations. Oh, of course, doesn't want to feed starving kids. McConnell's going to support all of that, even though Trump re-clarified. Of course he's going to. I think his view was that they were not going to produce a result and we needed to concentrate on what's achievable, McConnell said. Asked if he supports Trump's decision, McConnell says, I did. Of course he did. So that's a little bit of information when it comes to exactly what is happening there. Like I said, guys, I got to tell you, this is, from my perspective, it's incredibly frustrating to watch. But let's go ahead and let's go to Trump's Twitter. Give me a second to scroll because I want to pull this up so you know exactly where everything at. I'm just going to read some of these tweets. Here's one that's kind of funny. The fake news media is real opposition party. I agree with him there. I actually agree with him there. Let's just play some other ones because these are funny. Play. You can listen to it. And so somebody had talked about Kamala Harris, right? He's retweeted, says, she is far further left than crazy Bernie. Biden would not last a month. And then he says to Ari Fleischer, Ari, the media is corrupt, just like your Democratic-run ballot system is corrupt. Look at what's happening with the fake, missing, and fraudulent ballots all over the country. Vote! Big letters. By the way, oh my gosh, there's a ton of tweeting in here. Okay, y'all, it took me a good 5 minutes. He has done non-stop tweeting. My goodness, it took me a good 5 minutes to actually go and find the original posts. I want to read it to you so we can have the context. It says, this is from Donald Trump on his Twitter. Nancy Pelosi is asking for $2.4 trillion to bail out poorly run, high-crime Democratic states. Money that is in no way related to the virus. We made a very generous offer of $1.6 trillion, and as usual, she's not negotiating in good faith. I'm rejecting the request and looking to the future of our country. I've instructed my representatives to stop negotiating until after the election, when, immediately after I win, it's real humble, guys, we will pass a major stimulus bill that focuses on hardworking Americans and small businesses. I have asked Mitch McConnell not to delay, but to instead focus full-time on approving my outstanding nominee of the United States Supreme Court, Amy Coney Barrett. Our economy is doing very well. The stock market is at record levels. Jobs and unemployment are also coming back in record numbers. We are leading the world in economic recovery, and the best is yet to come, is what he says. So let's break this down. He says in here, I've told them to stop negotiating, focus on getting the Supreme Court justice in place. I know a lot of people have issues with her. I don't know as much about her. My issue is that I know, the situation for women's being able to choose what happens with their body is a big situation right now. My concern, as I've said several times, is not whether you're pro this or pro that. It's why don't we push for better health care so that a woman doesn't have to be in that position to make that type of choice. If we had better health care options for women, wouldn't have to happen. Same for men, but apparently it's all on the woman's shoulders to be poisoned and have her hormones completely screwed up. Not that our hormones don't already get screwed up from what we go through in life. Makes me irritated. But then he comes back and he clarifies, right? Give me a second. It's going to take a minute to scroll. So he says this as well in between all this tweeting. Crazy Nancy Pelosi and the radical left Democrats were just playing games with the desperately needed workers' stimulus payments. They just want to take care of wanting to take care of Democrats failed. High crime cities and states. They were never in it to help the worker, and they never will be. I have to agree with him here, guys. Personally, I don't see anything wrong with that statement because that is exactly how it appears what they are doing. This is how it appears to the American people. So if we keep scrolling, and it's going to take a minute, this is what he says. He says, the House and Senate should immediately, remember, he likes some big letters, especially with words like immediately, approve $25 billion for airline payroll support and $135 billion for the Paycheck Protection Program for small businesses. Both of these will be fully paid for with unused funds from the CARES Act. Have this money. I will sign now. Very good news. Let's listen. And then he says, if I am sent a standalone bill for stimulus checks, $1,200, they will go out to the great people immediately. I am ready to sign right now. Are you listening? And then he puts Mark Meadows, Mitch McConnell, Kevin McCarthy, Pelosi, and Schumer. He adds all of them when it comes to this. But he's not done. He then retweets what he wrote about, he says, if I am sent a standalone bill for stimulus checks, $1,200, they will go out to our American people immediately. I'm ready to sign right now. Are you listening? And he says, move fast. I am waiting to sign. And then adds Speaker Pelosi. So he retweets what he already put out there again. Now, what does all this mean? Because I can already hear the comments. He still canceled stimulus. Here's the thing. He can't really fully cancel stimulus. He might have said no more talks. That doesn't mean stimulus can't pass. And with this, he is showing us, look, I'm on board and I support stimulus checks getting out there. They're not doing it. I think this was a negotiation tactic gone PR nightmare, in my opinion, the more and more I'm looking at this. Remember yesterday I said this is what I thought? I said, but at the same time, we have to wait. We have to wait to see if that's exactly what's going on. We have to read the signs. And I think, thank God, probably somebody from Trump's people went to him and said, Miss President, this looks horrible. Make sure and clarify what you're saying. Now, keep this in mind too, as I've been saying this for quite some time. President Trump has been teasing for a while that he will put out stimulus checks. Guys, if President Trump is a smart businessman, I think he is, I think he's going to try everything in his power to circumvent the government officials who are not doing what they're supposed to do on the left and the right. And he may try to send us checks himself. If you remember, a few weeks ago, he had something where he already talked about, he's like, I can do it. There's a theory that I can do it, but I'm really supposed to have the support of the Congress, but I might just do this. And I think that's, especially with what he tweeted, he's tweeting right now, he is in support of stimulus, but he's putting it back on Nancy, which is what he needs to do, because the way it was written before, he was putting it all on himself, that stimulus wasn't happening. So the fact that he's speaking up, I think is going to be interesting. And I think over the next handful of days, if not, hopefully not weeks, but if it happens, it happens. We're going to look and see what other signs that he is putting out, maybe doing stimulus checks on his own. Because remember, he uses the people around him to put out these messages. He uses Mark Meadows. He uses Larry Kudlow. I don't know if he might use Steven Mnuchin. Steven seems like he's kind of his own guy, but he is on the president's side with a lot of stuff. He uses Steve Moore. He uses his people to slowly start putting out what he's wanting to do. So we're going to have to wait and see what signs are coming. But at this point, I think if Trump has any rabbits to pull out of hats, he has any magic up his sleeve, I would suggest you find a way to get the American, even if it's a couple $100, some type of relief, something to show that you are the one that's on our side and not anybody else. And that's not because I'm saying he is on our side. That's not because I'm saying I want him to win. I'm saying what this looks like from the silent majority in the middle, people like me, what this looks like to us and the path he could take to victory. I think he can still win this election, but to win this election, I think he's going to need to pull some magic out. And I think one big thing, he overcame the virus, which is great. That's a win for him. But to really get us the stimulus help we need would be fantastic. And before you guys say he can't, y'all were in my comment section telling me he couldn't with executive orders, and look what happened. In business and in life, the people that get ahead, especially those that are in a disadvantaged position or even those in a good advantaged position, you know what you learn? You learn to find the positive, non-destructive loopholes in the rules that you were given. That's what you learn, and you hack into those rules. And Trump already did this once with executive orders. What's to stop him again? And my answer is nothing. So that's my assessment on this. We'll have to wait and see what happens, but I still think he has a good shot to win. And guys, This is not over. Remember, just because he says he wants to cancel stimulus talks, they've already been canceling them before. That doesn't mean it's over. Now, where we're at with the stimulus bill, we have a new one. It's a skinnier version of the HEROES Act. It's just less time. That was passed in the House for $2.4 trillion instead of their almost $4 trillion bill. Now it has to go to the Senate. Now, for it to pass the Senate, negotiations in private do need to happen, but it doesn't mean they're not going to continue to talk. Just because Trump announces that publicly, remember what he said about the payroll tax. I said this in the other video. You have to remember this in looking at these people and what they say. He said, if there's no payroll tax in the next bill, I am not signing that stimulus. And what'd he do? Within like 2 weeks, he backed off of that completely because he got so much backlash, and then turns around and does an executive order for payroll tax cut anyway. By the way, it hasn't worked. It hasn't been implemented yet, but again, he's the only one who's showing the appearance that he is trying to help us, and that's what's going to be important in the eyes of the American people. So keep all of this in mind when you're dealing with this sort of thing. Just make sure and keep this stuff in mind, because some of these people you cannot take literally. Mitch McConnell, I would say, take literally. He's a literal evil. Take him literally. A lot of times with Nancy Pelosi and Trump, you can't do that. You have to read in more, because Nancy lies and Trump just puts stuff stupidly sometimes. Sometimes he almost puts a target on his back because he knows people will take him out of context. But at the same time, like in a situation where he is constantly taken out of context, there's no way that you can speak perfectly every single time. So my heart goes out to him that that's the situation he finds himself in. So remember, just because he says no stimulus talks behind closed doors doesn't mean stimulus can't come. Let's wait and see. Y'all, this election is going to be insane. It's going to get very interesting to cover all of this. Okay, guys, if you like the video, please give me a big thumbs up, like the video. Subscribe if you haven't. If you've subscribed, make sure and hit the notification bell so you can be notified when I do these daily updates. As many of you that could get on the notifications, it would be wonderful and I would so appreciate it. Leave a comment, sound off, as many comments as you want. Tell me everything you think. Tell me if you think I'm wrong. I would love to hear it. Let me know. And guys, please share this content with as many people as you can. People that you know that are struggling on unemployment, waiting for unemployment, waiting for stimulus checks, SBA loan and grants, can't pay their bills. I have tons of tools and resources on this channel, and I would love to help you through this very difficult time. And guys, the more you like, subscribe, comment, notifications, share the content, the more my channel grows, the more things I can do to give back to you, like our $100 gift card giveaway we're doing in this video. And if you want more giveaways, if you want more chances to win money, and look, the channel is super small right now, so you have way more of a shot than you do on the other one. Here's what you have to do. Like our videos, subscribe, hit notifications, comment, share the content, boom. That's it, you're eligible, that's all you have to do. Make sure and do it for any video you see too, because the more that you're able to help support these videos, watching them start to finish, like, subscribe, notifications, comment, share, the quicker I build, the more money I can make, and I can start doing the gift card giveaways and doing other giveaways to help you. So please help me be able to help you and do that. Find me on Facebook, Katie's Insight. Like the page, join the group, which is now Katie's Corner, will be changed to Katie's Insight soon. Please make sure and go in there, ask all the stimulus questions you want. We have some awesome people, and we cannot wait to see you there. Okay, guys, I'm going to prepare for the next video and try to put some aloe on my chin because it hurts. But that is okay. I was so happy. I was like, this could be so much worse. Right now, it just looks like a bad makeup job, right? That's it. Bad makeup job and a white, chubby face. I'll take it. Okay, guys, much love, much appreciation. I'm just so grateful that you guys let me do this every day and be here for you. And I'm so grateful you guys helped me get monetized so quickly. Lots of love. I will see you guys soon. Take care and blessings. Mwah. Goodbye.